The Army of Saints martial arts video series. For the martial arts portion this week, we're going to speed things up a little bit with the jab cross combos, again using our open hand palm heel strikes, reminding ourselves that this is excellent for street defense. This is not legitimate in tournaments. It's too dangerous to be used. You can substitute it for punches. For students that are training punches, instead of jab cross with closed fist, it's a reminder that if they are hitting the pads of the bag, they really ought to have wrist wraps, because the reason we're nervous about using closed fist strikes is many people in street situations get wrist injuries because you get very used to having those wrist wraps for extra protection that obviously doesn't exist in regular life walking around. But if you are using your punching bag or your pads for some of these practices, you need to have wrist wraps for the closed hand strikes. Otherwise, open hand, you'll never ever get hurt going this way, but you can easily hurt the wrist bending this way. So with palm heel combos, we're going to go just through a couple basic combos again. Our stance, okay, so we have our stance facing our opponent forward. We have our legs slightly bent, and we have our shoulders forward. We have our elbows in, and with the jab cross combo we did last week, now we're going to add what we call the chain punches. With the chain punches, as it can be done closed fist or open hand, that we're going to practice open hand in our demo. We're going to have chin to chest, shoulders kind of concaved up, so we're protected on the side of the face and head. And we're just practicing in sets of 3. So it will be 1, 2, 3. And as we go, you'll see the hips are moving, the legs are moving. It should not be stationary going 1, 2, 3. There's zero power in that. Your hips and the whole body should be moving back and forth. So practicing a set of 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, every time you go, you have a slight bend if you're training in the air. You're never popping all the way out like this. You will tear these ligaments by the elbow joint. You want to avoid that. Keep a slight bend in the arm. So we're going to go ahead, and you should be having students practice in sets of 30 or even 40. They're 1, 2, 3s. And so coming from the other side, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And eventually it should get really fast where your hands are just becoming lightning fast. So doing it full speed, it will eventually look something like this. And so my whole body's going into it, and I'm snapping out, but I have control and I'm covered when I'm doing it. That's the first combo. The second combo, jab, cross, round. When we do a roundhouse, we're having the palm, open palm, thumb tucked in, and we're coming around the side like this. Chin to chest, coming out fast like that. Again, from here, lead hand, coming out like that. Other hand up. And every time you hit, you should be breathing, tightening the abdomen. So, jab, cross, round. Again, forward. Jab, cross, round. Okay? That's another combo. And eventually when you practice it fast, it should look something like this. Switching stance. And so that's how we do jab, cross, round. One last combo I want to show for the open hand is adding a jab, cross, double round. So it will be jab, cross, round, round. So you're hitting somebody on other side of on the other side of the head. So from here, it would be jab, cross, round, round. Jab, cross, round, round. Okay? And fast, it should look something like, and you should be pulling forward with the motion of twisting. Okay? And there's a lot of other variations we can do, but I think this is good to get people started out. It's an excellent start, and it's the simple combos that win most fights. So that's important to remember. Now we're going to introduce play hand. one of my students, senior students, Tommy, is going to come in, and with play hand, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to introduce the concept, not of so much sparring, but light practice. You don't need gear for this. Nobody should be making contact. And this is something people should practice before actual hard contact, just to go slow, 20 or 30% of your speed, just to see where people are open. The big problem MMA fighters have, where they lose real life fights or where they don't do well in the ring, is they don't know when they're open. And so it helps to slow things down and for your partner to help show you when and where you're open. So we're going to just do some light play hand, and nothing's choreographed. He doesn't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. But we're going slow enough. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to be doing leg strikes. We're only doing upper body. And again, he has no gear. I have no gear. In real sparring, the 3 pieces of equipment you should always have: your headgear, your mouth guard, and your groin cup. And you should always have those 3 in real sparring. But this is just play hand. This is just the introduction. Okay. So from here, I'm practicing some of my basic combos. He has his combos. We're doing open hand. We're in good stances. And I'm coming forward, and I'm going, and I'm just practicing different things. And we're just playing, and we're just seeing what it's like to have different ways to go ahead and feel what his body's doing, and for me to go ahead and to go ahead and see where he's open. And if I really get in, I can just hit him. Well, I'm not even hitting, I'm just touching the forehead. People know in real fighting that signifies a strike. Same thing, if I'm open and he hits the side and I'm coming, that he knows that, I know that that's a strike. He just got on the body. But again, we have no gear on. We're just doing it slow and soft. So try a couple minutes of play hand with students, what it's like. Aim slow for the forehead, and just see what it's like to go ahead and do a couple different moves, and see what it's like to go ahead and start practicing parries every time somebody's hitting and striking, to just know how to get out of the way. Okay, and so play hand can be really fun, but remember, nobody should be getting hurt. You should be able to do that for an hour, and nobody should be getting touched if you know how to do real play hand. This is something AOS site instructors with your own students, you need to manage. Most teenage guys and girls, or even in college, whatever, don't understand the concept of play hand from sparring. They haven't gravitated to that, and they don't understand the difference. You need to help them. You need to help them do it slow before they can learn how to do it hard and fast. They need to learn how to walk. We're going to be doing something called high knees. This is for the cardio portion. It's pretty simple to do. Kind of like Tai Chi running in the fact that it doesn't require any real space. It requires incredible stamina. It's meant to last as a 20-minute exercise, and you'll find the way people start it and the way people end it are often 2 different things. This is one of the hardest cardio routines, standing in place, I know. And luckily I only have to give a 1-minute demo, but trust me, having done it 20 or 30 minutes, it is really, truly one of the toughest things to do, that even the most endurance kind of track athletes really struggle with this, but it works. It gets the job done, it works the core, it works the abs, and it's got some martial arts implications. When we do high knees, we have the arms up, elbows in, as we would in a stance, but you'll find later some of the blocks that we're going to teach, called knee to elbow, going like this, is actually incorporated in the actual the running. So this even relates to your martial training. So with high knees, all we're doing, standing regular, hands by the side of our head, elbows in, just like you would in a real martial arts stance. And we're going to start with high knees, and every time we go up, your knees should be hitting the elbows. It's controlling your breathing. People get winded very fast in this. But this is how people win fights. You're training your structure, you're training your cardio, and you're training your abs. The goal, every time, is to try to have the tips of your knees touch the tips of your elbows. I would recommend starting students in just a 3-minute sequence of that. It really, really wins people quickly, even the athletic and the toned. So what you can do is, for cardio, you can do 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off, 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and you can divvy it up like that. And that's a great way in 20, 25 minutes to be drenched with sweat and to have good martial art implication built into your head for future blocks and strikes that we're going to do. So this concludes the cardio portion of week 2, class 2 training. And this is the Army of Saints week 2, class 2 strength training portion. Last week we did something with the legs or squats. This week we're going to work exclusively on biceps. With the biceps, you can do an entire intense bicep workout with just a couple of dumbbells. We're going to show that today. For our first set, we're going to show it in a couple different variations. With biceps, it's actually better to keep the inside of the arms facing out as opposed to always starting this way and turning when you go up, because it actually makes the biceps work a little bit harder, keeping them out like this. We're going to do 2 sets. We're going to do the first set going straight up like this. And you're going to notice that we have our legs bent and our knees bent a little bit, and we're breathing, tightening right here, the core abdomen, every time we do a repetition. You can alternate instead by going like this. When people are doing curls, a common mistake in most high school and college gyms is picking up too much heavy weight and be going like this, trying to throw your back into it. It's horrible form. It doesn't build any muscle mass. It's incorrect. So we're going to do some alternating, and this is just regular standing curls, and then we're going to go ahead, switch around. So now we're doing reverse curls. This works a different part of the bicep. You can go as high as 20 reps with lighter weight for tone, and for people just looking to build massive bulk, you would only do it 8 or 10 reps. Same thing, you can do it together. Try not to let the back arch and breathe out like you're blowing on soup every time you do a repetition, okay? With the hammer curls, this is a way that we're going to keep the arms actually with the tips of the weights facing you, and I'm going up like this, doing hammer curls, okay? And hammer curls, it actually stays straight like this. You never turn in like this. What does this do? It helps work forearms, okay? So these are called hammer curls. So that you're holding the weight, each end, one is facing you, the other is facing towards you, and you keep it like this the entire time. And that's a little bit different sequence. And with seated curls, all you're going to do, these are called concentration curls. You're going to have the elbow pivoted into the leg, and you're going to, again, it's not the amount of weight, it's the technique. It's clean technique that will build mass and create defined muscles. And same thing, we're going up, and in concentration curls, I stop half each way. So I hold, take a breath, all the way up, hold, take a breath. I stop at the middle point each way. Okay? You're going to go ahead and try to do at least 10 to 20 of those each arm. That is called concentration curls because it shocks the whole bicep. And lastly, for biceps, we're going to do something called blind curls. If you have a full bench that you can lie down on, it's another variation. And you're going to just be lying down, and you're going to have the dumbbells rest to the ground, and you're going to go ahead, and that adds yet another component, working against gravity in this motion. And as one comes up, the other can come down. Control your breathing. Try to let the weight hang all the way down. And for the forearms, because I like to training with biceps and with forearms. Very, very important in some of the Kung Fu-based strikes we're going to show, and the Muay Thai-based strikes, having very rigid, solid forearms. Your forearms will become a striker as you learn some more advanced techniques. So, for forearm training, you're going to just rest your arm on your knee, and you're going to hold the top of it, and you're going to just go up like this. Try to do 20 to 30 with a lighter weight. And it's all the wrist. Nothing with the bicep or the shoulder, all in the wrist. And then you're going to do reverse forearm curls. Other side of the arm down on the knee. Hold the top with the other hand. Same thing. We're going to go up, all with the wrist. See what that small motion feels like, that small little motion, even with a 10 or 15 pound dumbbell, really, really shocks this muscle and really will give strong definition. And the last thing I'm going to show for biceps is what we call packing. Packing is something used in a lot of the ancient Chinese martial arts to go ahead, and we have this, this kind of chi or energy running through the body that we are going to talk about in later video series. But the point of this now, it combines into strength training. It's what a lot of Western science and physiology would call the practice of isometrics. It's a little bit different in the Chinese practice, but it's along the same idea. And so you're going to go ahead, let your arms hang regular, and then from your wrist all the way to your shoulder, you're going to start doing 30-second sequences of tightening these muscles around the bone as tight as you can, from the bicep, the elbow, the forearm, and you're going to tighten it so your body, eventually, in tightening, should become so powerful and so tense that if you look, there should be a little bit of shaking. You should be shaking if you're doing packing correctly, or this isometric training. And your whole body should be relaxed except for the part that you're focusing on. So all of my body when I do this is relaxed, supple, except the arms. And you're doing that in about 30 seconds. Also, never hold your breath when you do that. Continue focused breathing as you do that. 30 seconds, as tight as you can, relax. That concludes our strength training for Week 2, Class 2 biceps training. For Week 2, Class 2 meditation part, this is called Tidal breathing. This is another type of breathing meditation, partly rooted out of pranayama, India's breathwork system. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show how to do some deep inhalation, exhalation. You're going to hear some very heavy, intense breathing, but that's how you should be practicing and doing this. This takes some practice. I've been doing it since I could walk, so it's easier for me to do over longer periods of time than maybe a lot of people, but you can build up a capacity to do this. So with the art of breathwork meditation, we're focusing all our inhalation and exhalation efforts at the pit of the diaphragm. We're looking 2 to 3 inches below the navel, below the belly button, in what we would call in Chinese text, Dan Tian. So we're going to start here, and I'll be facing you. So you are my student. We're doing it together. Knees bent. We're going to start with an inhalation. After you inhale as much as you can, breathing up, you're going to go and take one final little inhalation breath, and you're going to swallow. The reason you swallow is to go ahead and let all the muscles and air help go to the pit of your stomach to go ahead and then prepare for the exhalation. We're going to do this several times, just a few repetitions, but the real practice, you would do this at least 5 minutes. So we'll do it together. So, again, all through the mouth on this set of techniques, not the nose at all through the mouth. Inhale. Swallow. It's in the pit of your stomach now. And breathe out, making a loud hissing sound. And I like to use my hands because it helps me visualize the exhalation. So, inhale. Swallow. Exhale. When you exhale, every little bit of air in your lungs should be out. That's why it hurts almost. People have pulled muscles doing this breathing. But it creates the body's ability to take immense strikes and power to the abdomen. So again, inhale. Exhale. And with this breath work, it's something that will really help people in their cardio and their stamina, and especially in martial arts fighting. From here, we're going to conclude with our quick wrap-up of 4 things that we always remind people. The first is asking people to go through, after week 2, class 2, of something new they learned that they liked, something they really want to work on, that they thought was cool or interesting. We want to understand people's interests that are generated from our practice. So, after everybody does that, everybody should be able to come up with one small thing they're looking to work on. It can be anything from trying to apply to more jobs, do better in a class in school that you might be struggling with, learning to keep your cool and your temper with a brother, a sister, a parent, a teacher, somebody in your neighborhood, and how you're going to go ahead and measure it. Is it one less time that you can have an outburst on somebody? How can you go ahead and control whatever it is you're looking to work on? Everybody should be able to name one thing. Part of the martial art discipline is sometimes what we call senior fighters, what we're able to call brutal honesty. That's when you look back on something and you say, I really should have done this or that a little bit differently. And it doesn't just translate to fights you win or lose, as far as competition, tournaments, ring training. It translates into, what is it that you need to work on in general in life. And obviously, everybody has something. We're also going to mention Army of Saints, Nutrition Chart of Champions. We talk about it every class. It's an element that most martial artists miss, and most weightlifters miss, and most athletes and track endurance, triathlon people, and everybody in between that maybe go to the gym and train hard, but normally don't eat that great. What you really want for the most balanced diet, which is also an incredibly low-cost diet as far as money goes with food, you should have at least 25% vegetables of 1/4 of what you eat, 1 serving a day, whether it's celery or broccoli or lettuce or cucumber, but something, especially green leafy vegetables. You should have 25% of fruit, nuts, or seeds, especially nuts, because you get a lot of healthy fats from the nuts. Beans, lentils, yogurt, and soy milk is some of your strongest forms of protein, especially from soybean to soy milk. In fact, soy milk has usually more calcium, or at least just as much as regular milk. You want to remember the facts. Martial artists deserve to be smart, and to be training smart and eating smart. And lastly, your whole grains. Things like brown rice or wheat or oatmeal, these whole grains, these are things that will give you carbohydrates throughout your day. As far as our final piece with our job corps, job readiness, be thinking about what it is you're looking to do. Martial arts and physical fitness is a guideline to keep your body and mind strong, but very, very few people, if anyone, will ever be paid a lifetime to exercise or fight in the martial arts. But what everybody here watching this video can do is be paid to do something smart, to do a good job for somebody somewhere, someday, using your brain. So be thinking about things coming up as far as resume workshops, job mock interviews, or different job readiness assignments that will be assigned to you. Because at the end of the day, who is it really helping? It's helping you guys, the students, and the staff leaders that are carrying it out to give your students a brighter future. That's all part of being a strong fighter, a strong martial artist. So this is conclusion of week 2, class 2 from Army of Saints. Thank you very much.